Hello, ladies and gentlemen, freaks, geeks, creeps, and degenerates. Come one, come all for my very special presentation. Tonight, I will be responding to a video in full. I will link the original video in the description below. Today's target is a woman named Tomi Lahren. She's a political commentator, conservative, and Trump supporter. From what I've seen, she has quite a knack for owning the libtards with facts, reason, and logic in an epic 1v1 deathmatch debate. But despite that introduction, this video isn't going to be covering her political views. No, fuck that. I have something a bit more juicy for you dirty degenerates. We will be responding to her views on male and female relationships, to be fair. This video isn't about porn, despite you guys really liking that episode. I'm not trying to get banned from YouTube before I can make my first dime. Anyway, everyone gather around because this empowered girl boss has a lot to say to men specifically about what she demands from us. Remember how much we loved that back in 2014 with the feminist movement? Well, now it's back in full swing in the form of a middle-aged white woman, which is pretty typical. But unlike in 2014, she's gonna come in with the facts. The same woman who owns all the libtards on planet Earth is gonna teach us how to own our relationship and make them great again. But I'm getting ahead of myself, so without further delay, let's get this shit show on the road.
So normally I do final thoughts and I do Instagram lives and I do rants about politics. There's plenty to talk about in politics right now. Do it every day, it's a great time. But something, as of recently, has been on my mind.
Oh, do tell.
And I consider myself a teacher, a helper, someone who could possibly inspire people to be better.
A hero, a firefighter, an astronaut, a Navy SEAL, the second coming of Jesus. She's all these things. I wonder if she considers herself to be very humble as well.
So, with that being said, this is a PSA for all the men out there and all the boys who think they're men, but they're actually boys. This is going to be the summer of canceling boys.
But I thought you hated cancel culture. I guess it's fine when you do it.
Now, from my own personal experiences and the experiences of all of my friends, which range in age from 24 to 36, we've all got issues.
Yeah, that's putting it lightly. Well, the first step to self-improving is admitting your faults, so I'm very proud of you. I just hope that you don't prop yourself up with a self-aggrandizing statement. Wait for it.
Now, I will also say this. All of my friends are attractive. All of my friends are successful. All of my friends have something going on. Almost every single one of them have an issue with men. And you have to start looking at that and thinking, if an age range of that many people, including myself, living really all over the country and being blonde, brunette, short hair, long hair, I mean, tan, super white, super pale. I mean, these women range in every body type and everything.
You literally just listed off a bunch of skin pigmentations for white people. I can imagine your friend group being very diverse.
They're all successful, they're all intelligent, they're all good people. But if all of these women, including myself, are having issues, then I have to think, it might not be us. It might be you.
I mean, sure, it's possible it could be men, or it could be the type of men that you go for. Besides, I thought this video was about canceling boys. Are we canceling boys or are we canceling men? Or are we canceling boys who think they're men? I am so confused. You should probably make up your mind.
It might be men. It might be men. Now, I've often talked about the pussification of America and how men are no longer men. I talk to my mom about this a lot and she says, well, maybe it's just the guys in Texas. Maybe it's just the guys in Los Angeles. Maybe it's just the guys... It is not just the guys in Los Angeles, Nashville, Dallas, and they're not any better in the Midwest.
Have you ever considered dating in other countries? You know, places where men don't know how terrible you are?
Quite frankly, I think they're trash all over this country in the age range of about 20 to I think about 55, maybe even 60. A lot of men are trash. A lot of men don't know how to treat women. A lot of men don't know how to really, quite frankly, pull their heads out of the sand and pay attention. So I am going to help you.
I want to conduct a hypothetical scenario, a thought experiment if you will. I want you all to imagine if a man got on his webcam and said the exact same thing but for women. A lot of women don't know how to treat men. A lot of women are trash all over this country and can't cook or clean. In the age range of 20 to 60, a lot of women are trash and don't know how to listen and pay attention. So I, the perfect alpha male, will help you poor unfortunate souls. Do you guys have any idea how fast that man will be canceled? Now that I think about it, that probably won't affect Tomi Lahren much, considering this is her 25th cancellation this year.
And these are some of the things that I've experienced, and these are some of the things my friends have experienced. I'm just gonna lay a few things out. They haven't all happened to me. Some of them have just happened to my friends. A lot of them have happened to me. So, the first thing, and I've made notes, by the way. I've made notes. This is how invested I am in this, because I've been thinking about this for about 2 weeks solid now.
What am I looking at here? So you consider yourself a teacher, but you don't provide visual aids which the audience can read? You claim to have been thinking about this for 2 weeks, but the visual aids you provided are written sloppily on your end and look completely backwards on ours. I wouldn't regularly harp on this, but here's the situation. She keeps showing us the list and going down the list throughout the video. So if you're going to show people the list, at least write it correctly. I can only imagine if this woman was an actual teacher. That'd be a recipe for fucking disaster. I also reject this idea that us men have not been listening to any of the criticisms levied towards us, or that we are just ignoring all the criticisms for some reason.
First question for men. If you like a girl, if you're even somewhat interested in a girl, you need to ask yourself this question. Are you single? No, I don't mean are you kind of single, seeing 5 people, dating somebody, still kind of in a relationship, kind of broken up, kind of on again, off again, kind of married, kind of divorced. Are you actually single? That means single. You have nobody. You have no complications. You have no attachments. You are actually single. That is the first question, believe it or not, that needs to be asked. And ladies, you should be asking it, because in 2020, it's not a given anymore that a guy that's actively pursuing you is actually single. So that's the first thing.
So you basically expect men to have absolutely nobody talking to them before they even walk up and talk to you? Okay, what if he's exploring his options? Why is it literally okay for women to have 15 people in their DMs while they're trying to date a guy? But like when a guy has, maybe, 3 women talking to him while he's talking to you, it's an automatic red flag. I don't know, something like that doesn't smell right to me.
The second thing that I think is very important that men don't seem to understand. There are very few women out there, and I'm speaking from personal experience as well as from all of my friends and all the women, quite frankly, that I talk to. There is not a woman out there that wants to be your pen pal. She doesn't want to get your texts, your good morning texts, your good night texts, your random through the day texts, if they don't follow up with a plan to actually, here's the kicker, in person, hang out. Now, I know what you're saying, oh, it's COVID, people can't hang out in person. This has not been a 4-month problem. This has been a 5-year problem that I've experienced with men and my friends have experienced with men. Women do not want a pen pal. We don't want a texting pal. We quite frankly don't care if you text us all day or if you don't text us at all. If you're not going to make a plan to actually see us in person, not interested. And if you do have a woman out there that just wants to be your pen pal, it's probably because she has a boyfriend or a husband or a wife or whatever. We don't want a pen pal.
Who are you talking about? Like, I didn't want to make a response video that literally had me saying who the entire time, but seriously, who are you talking about? Like, there isn't a single man on this planet who talks to a woman just to not link up. Like, we don't want pen pals either. Who wants pen pals? We're trying to link up. We're trying to meet with you. The people you're fucking with who aren't meeting with you, maybe there's a reason why they don't want to meet up with you. I mean, if this video isn't enough evidence for why that is.
But that also leads me to my second point. This is going to be backwards for you guys. Make plans. Make a plan.
Wait a minute, so she knew the entire time that it was written backwards on our end, yet she still didn't fix it for the fucking video. Fantastic.
Do not assume assume that you can text somebody randomly in the middle of the day, what are you doing? Or text them at midnight or 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. or even just within hours of when you actually want to see them and think that they're going to be available. I personally, once I get home and I take my makeup off and I'm watching TV, I'm no longer interested. So if you didn't make a plan earlier in the day, or better yet, a day or 2 or 3 in advance, I'm not interested. I don't want to hang out anymore because that ship has sailed. Make a plan. I want to hang out with you at this time. It doesn't have to even be a date. I want to see you at this time. Are you free at this time? Or when are you free? I will accommodate my schedule to see you. When are you free? I want to see you. I know it's not rocket science, but men of 2020, it seems like it's pretty difficult for you to figure out.
I agree. People should make plans to link up, which is why I asked the question, who are you talking about? And you know what? Maybe there's an underlying reason why people don't want to make plans with you. Maybe these men think you're a total fucking bitch.
And I'm not a feminist, so please don't take this as a feminist rant. I love men. I think men are great. I think men have failed themselves, and they've failed us. And I'm just trying to help you out, because I think there are a lot of really great guys out there who need a little help. And I don't think that there are a lot of women that are stepping up and saying these things and not... FaceTime me, I swear to God.
This is supposed to be the most important PSA to all men in the world, and you couldn't edit that shit out?
Quite frankly, I don't think that there are a lot of women that aren't raging feminists that don't look like Lena Dunham. They're saying these things to you, so I'm gonna go ahead and say them because they need to be said.
Wait, hold on a second, but didn't you just say...
And I'm not a feminist, so please don't take this as a feminist rant.
Yeah, that's what I thought you said. Okay, so you claim to not be a feminist, but you're absolutely fine with using feminist talking points. You literally just acknowledged that only feminists that look like Lena Dunham are saying these exact same things. More to the point, do you think men are going to be more susceptible to hear the bitching and moaning that we usually get from feminists from your mouth instead? Especially in the way in which you deliver it in this very video? If that's the case, then you must be more than delusional.
I am really so sick of my friends having to deal with trash men. I am tired of dealing with trash men, so I'm going to help you out. Make plans. So let's go through these lists again, because I know y'all love a list. Number 1, are you single? Number 2, make a plan. Nobody wants a pen pal. We want to actually see you. If not, don't text us because it's a waste of our time and we don't want to see it on our phones. Got it? All right.
Despite your clumsy, condescending nature, I bet there is some guys out there who do appreciate the criticism. Luckily, I've come with my share of criticisms as well, since we're exchanging them so freely. To all women who talk like this, I have some advice here. Do not condescend at people that you are trying to help. When you are talking to a man and asking him to do things and giving him criticism, do not nag or annoy the shit out of him, or call him trash, or call him all these different names. When you emotionally abuse people, they don't want to listen to you. A little pro tip for you.
Next thing, value. Okay? Value. Take that in. Just repeat it to yourself until it makes sense. Okay. If you want to date a girl that has nothing going on, then that's fine. But please do not mix in people like me and my friends who have something going on with your other girls that have nothing going on. And by nothing going on, I mean this. There is no job that is unimportant. There is no job that's not valuable or that's not worthy. It is.
Yeah, that makes sense. Who the hell doesn't value value? That's why when men date seriously, they go for women who are generally very submissive and good homemakers. Because to a man working a 9-to-5 job, those traits are particularly valuable to them.
But if you want to mix in people like me and people like my friends who are go-getters, who work really hard, who make their own money, who are talented, skilled, ambitious, please don't mix us in with the Tatianas. We don't want to be there. If that's what you want, find them.
The men you're talking about do that. In fact, they go out of their way specifically to be with those Tatianas. The problem is women like you see that and say all men are trash and men just don't know what good women are. When they do, they just don't want to date good women. They'd rather date Tatianas.
Please, for the love of God, do not mix us in with them because we don't want to be there. And quite frankly, we take it as an insult if we find out that you are also talking to 5 Tatianas who have nothing going on. People like me and my friends are going to be insulted by that, and there's almost really no coming back from it. So if you want that kind of a girl, the kind of girl who's just kind of happy, going through the motions of life, not really super ambitious, hasn't really found herself yet, doesn't really have a whole lot going on other than she's pretty, please just go after them.
And here's the problem with that. When men are 100% honest about what their true intentions are, these types of women still complain. It's almost like you can't win.
And please do not mix us in. We don't want to be there. I promise you. So value. There's a lot of women out there that I know that are my good friends who have amazing jobs, who work really hard, but who can't seem to find a decent guy, even if they go up in age 5 to 10 to 15 years, because those guys all want to be with 21-year-olds who have nothing going on.
That's their prerogative, Lauren. Oh my God. We are talking in circles here. Listen, if those men want to date those Tatianas and 21-year-olds because they're young and vibrant and happy and not jaded and rude and condescending, then that's their prerogative. If you don't want to date those type of men, and if you're sick of your friends missing out on dating good men, then stop dating those men. It's that freaking simple now, isn't it?
It's very unfortunate. I don't think it's going to be fulfilling, but I would say to the men out there, try to maybe find a woman that you can talk to, communicate with, might actually have her shit together, might actually be ambitious and have something going on or want to have something going on. I don't care what she does. She doesn't have to be on TV. She doesn't have to be a PhD. She doesn't have to be a television producer. She doesn't have to own her own company, but be ambitious and have something going on.
You know what? I agree. But some men don't really value those particular traits. And if they don't value those traits, then that's their prerogative now, isn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, you can't make someone like those traits. You can't make men value those traits. All you can really do is date the men that would value those traits. Unfortunately, those are probably the type of men that you don't go out of your way to date.
Those women out there are going to be a lot more fulfilling to you. You're actually going to enjoy your time. And if you actually might want a sustainable and healthy and stable relationship, that's probably the kind of girl you're going to need to find. Not the Tatianas who just want to look cute and post Instagram stories. What
kills me is this woman is speaking about men as if we're all a monolith. Shockingly, different men value different things in women. At the end of the day, you know that the problem isn't that they don't value women. The problem that you seem to be having with these specific men are that they do not value the same things that you value in yourself.
Now, I love a good Instagram story. Y'all know I do. I love a good boomerang. I love a good whatever. But if that's all you do, men, if that's all she does, probably Houston, we have a problem. I'm just gonna let you in on a little tip.
And I appreciate the tip. Here's a little tip for you. Stop shitting on young, vibrant, and happy women and clumsily disguising it as dating advice for men.
The next thing on my list is this: consistency. It really does not help me or my friends or any woman in general if you are really cool and you're really interested when you first start talking to them, and then give it 3, 4, 5 days and all of a sudden you're not consistent anymore. You don't make plans, you don't really care, you kind of fade in and out, you're talking to 5 other Tatianas. Consistency is important.
Generally, when guys stop talking to you after a while or start changing up in the middle of the relationship, that means we've lost interest. Now, that can happen for a modicum of reasons, like perhaps you're a little bit too mean, or you're not interesting enough, or you don't have anything funny to say. There are a lot of different reasons why this happens. You really shouldn't assume that only happens just because we found a Tatiana to talk to. More often than not, it's just because we've lost interest. It happens.
Now, if you want to be inconsistent and you want to ghost and you want to fall off the radar, that's fine, but I'm going to give you a pro tip.
Yeah, I'm noticing a pattern with these pro tips. Whenever she says she's going to give us a pro tip, she usually follows up with the most novice level nonsense that she can come up with.
People like me and people like my friends, we aren't going to really give a shit after that. We don't really care. The F's have been given and we're kind of done. I'll tell you this from personal experience. Once I'm turned off, I am turned off.
Oh, I know the feeling, sister. Trust me.
And I don't care anymore. Because at one point, I probably did care. At one point, my friends, they probably did care. They probably did like you because you expressed interest and maybe you were cool and maybe you were kind of fun to hang out with. But if you're not consistent and you fall off the radar, I give you maybe 1 to 2 chances to fix that because I'm a very direct communicator. Women, this is important. I will communicate to you. If your communication isn't great, I will let you know that. I will let you know that more effort is needed. But if you don't heed that warning and I have to warn you twice, I'm done at that point because I don't really care anymore.
And neither does the man who ghosted you. He doesn't care. That's why he ghosted you. I don't think he would care that you care that he ghosted you. So what's your point?
Now I'm done. Now I don't care. And I know my friends who are watching this are thinking and saying the same thing because we have these conversations on an almost daily basis. Once you turn us off, we don't care anymore. So let that be a warning to you. You're probably not going to circle back. They always come back.
To you? Why?
They always come back. But when you're ready to come back, I probably don't care anymore. So if you want to switch up, stay there. Pro tip.
She keeps saying that they're pro tips, but she keeps falling into basic level traps. I mean, think about it, guys. Like, look at this woman. She's not necessarily bad looking. Well, the quality of video is pretty bad, so maybe you might think she is, but she's not necessarily a bad looking chick. What are the odds that it is literally every single man she's ever dated's fault and not her own? Listen to the video. Listen to how condescendingly she talks to people. This is her way of helping men. This is how she speaks to men. And she thinks that men should value that. Men should value literally every trait that she has. When she wants to give men constructive criticism, she calls men trash.
My last thing on my list is also very important. Don't be, excuse my language, don't be a bitch.
Don't be what I've been being this entire video.
Don't be a bitch. Don't be a bitch. If you haven't failed and you lost a woman of value like myself or my friends, and then we don't really care anymore, don't be a bitch. Don't be butthurt. You did it to yourself.
Okay, same to you. If the men you're dating suddenly like Tatiana's, don't be a bitch and fucking make a video shaming all men.
Okay? And it's no longer my problem. Now, it's become a personal problem of yours. So don't be a bitch.
Okay, explain to me how you and your friends getting passed up by Tatiana's isn't a personal problem of yours. Why should the entire world get involved in your stupid shit? I mean, think about it, right? Who is this video really helping here? I mean, come on. The men you are directly addressing in this video aren't gonna listen to you because they're too busy banging Tatiana's.
And by the way, if I'm no longer interested because your effort is shitty, that's not me being a bitch. That's not me being difficult. That's me having a standard in which I expect from people. I do have high standards and high expectations. My friends have high standards and high expectations. Do you want to know why? We've worked for those, okay? We work hard. We're successful. We take care of ourselves. We try to look cute. We have a desire to be something more each day.
As opposed to what? The Tatianas? How do you know the Tatianas aren't grinding it out like you? Like, let's just be honest here. The Tatianas have a very specific strategy that yield very positive results, and you do not. The things you do are failing, and they always fail, and you're mad about that. You think men should just change their standards and they just accept you just the way you are because you're a perfect little being who has no flaws. But at the end of the day, if men don't want to date you, that's a fault on you. You need to change. You need to be different. Starting with, like you just said,
don't be a bitch, okay? That's why we have the ability to be somewhat what you call difficult. It's not difficult. We just have a baseline standard. And if you can't meet that standard, that's okay. A lot of men cannot. But if you are one of those men out there, and I have them all over my DMs, sometimes I check them, and you guys are like, what would it take to be with someone like you? What would it take to be with your friends? What are girls like you? What are they looking for? I laid them out for you very simply there. In order to have a shot with a girl like me or girls like my friends, girls that are worth a damn, you don't really have to be Brad Pitt. You don't have to be famous. You don't even really have to make a lot of money or have a really fantastic job. You just have to be determined. You have to be in some way successful in that you want to attain some certain kind of success for yourself. You're driven, you have goals, you can handle a woman with standards. That's not going to turn you off. And you're going to put in the effort to be with somebody like myself or my friends. We deserve that.
Yeah, well, life isn't exactly about what you deserve, as you very well know. As a successful woman like yourself, you have to understand that you have to work for what you want. And at the end of the day, if you don't adopt traits that are valuable towards men who are successful, ambitious, and all these other things, then they won't want to date you. They won't want to stay with you for long, and if you're a bitch like you are in this video, then they're gonna not want to be with you.
And we will not compromise our standards. I tell you this, it will be a cold day in hell when I chase a man. And I know that's the same thing for my friends as well. And if my friends are listening and they're thinking about chasing a man, please, for the love of God, do not. Because there is not one single man on planet Earth, okay, that is worth making any woman feel like she is not good enough.
Did you hear that, ladies? You don't need to change yourself. You don't need to be better. You don't need to self-improve in any way or even adopt any traits that would be valuable towards the men you want. You guys just deserve every man y'all want. Y'all deserve it. Alright? At default, at base level, you don't need to work at anything. You don't need to work at getting a man. They should just come to you. They should just fly through your window. Because that's how the real world works.
I don't care how hot a girl is, how smart, how successful, how rich. We have all dealt with men who treat us like we are not good enough. No, the problem is we are too enough and you can't handle it.
And yet she still takes no responsibility for herself. She doesn't take any responsibility for how she behaves. She doesn't take any responsibility for what she says here. She just says, oh, you men just need to man up, essentially. Look, as someone who believes in the free market, you should know, Tomi Lahren, that if you have a product that nobody wants, it is not the fault of the consumer, but the fault of the provider. At the end of the day, these Tatianas have you beat no matter how many accolades you have, and you're big mad about that. So you need to turn on your webcam and rant about it. Rant and rave to anyone who will listen. I've also noticed that you like to use very flowery language whenever you address the women, but when you address the men, you use very harsh and condescending language.
So, those are my checklists. Again, I will go through them for you one more time in case you are just tuning in. Number 1, are you single? No, really. 2, make plans. We don't want a pen pal. 3, value. Value someone who has value. Consistency. Be consistent. Don't be great and then fade out. And then don't fade out and then think that you're going to fade back in, because it ain't going to work. And last but not least, if all else fails, don't be a bitch. Hope you guys have all enjoyed my PSA, my Instagram Live. I love you all. I hope I gave you some valuable tips and advice. But hey, those are just my final thoughts from Nashville, Tennessee in my kitchen. God bless and take care.
Finally, we made it to the end. That was really painful to watch. I don't really know what this video was supposed to be. Look, Tomi, I know you're famous for your final thoughts segments on your show, but I'm going to give you some final thoughts of my own. This entire video was just you calling the men you date trash and calling women who aren't like you and your friends Tatianas. It's quite a shame because the criticism you did make towards the men that you claim you want to help only help the men who aren't looking for women like you. Some men, believe it or not, find women who are strong and successful sexy. Others find submissive homemakers sexy and pursue those types of women. You actively shamed men for not wanting to date you or for finding you unbearable while simultaneously dodging responsibility for your part of their failing relationship. This is something I see far too often in relationships, where one or both partners attribute their accolades to their worth as a partner. And they think just because they make money and don't cheat, they are great partners and they're not toxic at all. At the end of the day, this stubborn, I don't need to change mentality is toxic because nobody is perfect just the way they are. You have to work hard for what you want. That includes relationships. You of all people should know this, Tomi. If you are willing to let the relationship fall apart because you have become complacent in the relationship, it will not last, no longer how much of a girl boss you are. I mean, to be honest, I agreed with most of what you said, but maybe, just maybe, it's your fault your relationships fail and men don't want to meet up with you. Can you even entertain that idea? This video isn't even really for her necessarily. It's really for people who think like her. Unless you can believe that it's possible that you might need to be a better person for your relationship to work, then your relationships will always fail. Every time.
It might not be us. It might be you.
And that concludes my final thoughts. Thank you all for watching. This is Prometheus Prime signing out. So long, farewell, leave me alone. And take care.